Mama Africa, we must all rise, sing together to fight Ebola. We must all arise, let's come together to fight Ebola.
It's connecting 6 cities, 2 continents. It's about 650 miles. The tour has been geared up to ultimately raise funds for children, not just in Sierra Leone, but other parts of the world, yeah. So as a charity, we work in 17 countries. The option of doing nothing, I don't think is an option. I think we've got a moral obligation to help others, wherever that might be anyway. Let's stand together to fight this deadly disease now. What would my wife say? We're seeing some crazy, bonkers, she thinks. And actually a lot of people say that, because the first thing you say to them, we're going to run from Yorkshire to Africa, and people just either laugh or don't believe you.
I've only been running for 5 months. I started in October and then did too much too quickly, so I was off for 6 weeks as well with the injury. I didn't fall on the floor half dying after 13 miles, so I'm positive. I'm going the right direction.
I didn't know what to expect at all. I got there about 1 o'clock and started helping load up the camper vans and things, but even at that stage I didn't really know what was going to happen. So there was that sense of trepidation, you know, what have I let myself in for? What's it going to involve?
So I turned up at Michael's house, and that was on the Friday, and I remember turning up thinking, actually I've only really met these people in a pub for about 90 minutes previous to this. We were about to take on a massive task of getting all the way to Heaven Homes, but I just didn't really know what to expect from anyone.
So we're following the history of the slave trade. So we're starting in Hull, running from Hull to Cambridge, up to Liverpool, down to central London. From London we fly out to Lungi, and then we run the last 23, 24 miles to a place called Waterloo, where the children are currently living. And the whole idea of this whole tour was to do it once, low key, see if it works. If it works, then do it again. You'll get hot, tired, hungry, angry, weary. Every emotion you go through in life, you'll experience in 4 days, guaranteed, because your sleeping pattern is out the window.
That's brilliant. So I mean, I don't know if you just want to. What we've done when people come here, we just kind of show them on the map where the kids are that we're supporting. So that this is rooted in actually trying to find these kids that have lost everything. Fighting on their behalf is critical, that we are part of their family, and so what you're doing is actually being part of that family, and so those dots represent many lives, and I'm so glad you're going to go out to Sierra Leone and actually meet the kids as well. I think that's really special.
When we drove up to Nottingham and saw what Operation Orphan do with boxes of old, disused new school clothes that would have otherwise been incinerated, and that they've got people coming into those offices to sort them out. People get volunteers giving up their time to make sure that those clothes get to where they need to go.
It could send it out there, it could pay for school fees, it could pay for clinics being built, it could pay for HIV support groups, kids living with HIV, it could pay for all the cash element that is needed across all different projects. That's what this sort of stuff does. It empowers us. So the tour is going to empower us to deliver that. And also, see those boxes in the back there, those Franson, it says? Yeah. Those are all water filters, about £10,000 worth of water filters there. And that is for disaster relief. So we want to get into the disaster. So like Nepal, I was in Nepal between the 2 earthquakes. Mm-hmm. And so the idea was to go and find the kids that have been orphaned in the earthquake or in the disaster, identify them, make them safe, and keep them safe.
So there was a lot of team talks throughout the process. The one that stands out particularly is the one in the hotel up in Hull. You could just see all the emotion on everyone's face because we were being told a story about what we were about to do. You could just see it on everyone's face that we were about to start something that had been visioned and was something that people had thought about long and hard, but actually no one really knew what the answer was.
This is a country which has suffered no end through years of civil war, and most recently through Ebola. It's a country in which the average life expectancy is under 40. There are very few older people, but what they have in richness are young people. They're lively, they're eager to learn, they're eager to improve themselves. So it's through efforts like this that we can improve the lives of children in Sierra Leone. So I'm really pleased to be part of this effort today, and I'm equally pleased to say, off you go.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Race
See you in Nottingham.
This will be a walk in the park.
Bridge was windy.
Oh, right, so we get out the
really
way.
windy.
Try not
It was
to.
good.
Try not to
I don't really
run
like heights
over.
though, so I sort of made sure I was running on the inside of the path.
And it's psychologically, when you can see this long straight road and a bit of a hill at the top.
And then obviously when you got all the little car went in some mud and slipped at one point.
That's all, yeah.
You know when the car came past.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ran 25 minutes. Paul took over and has been running 10 minutes now. I've been running 11 miles an hour apparently. So should be ahead of time then, by calculations. Which is good.
You ready? Yeah.
Ready?
You ready? Yeah.
What's right?
You ready?
Yeah. You good?
Yeah.
See you guys.
Your body can do it, you know. I mean, that's what surprised us all. We've been talking that who'd have thought you can just run for 3 days, albeit, you know, an hour here, an hour there. And I think when you're at work and you say, oh, I'm tired, you're not tired at all. You're just a bit bored or you're a bit emotionally drained. Your body can cope with a lot more than you think it can.
How many more legs have you got before you're finished, you know?
Ooh, a lot. It's nice meeting you, and it's been a pleasure. I hope, you know, you can share my chewing gum in my jean pocket. That'll be good. I'm excited. All ready to go.
The nightmare would be, we've got to be in London at 4:30 on a Tuesday the 4th of April to meet the High Commissioner. Wouldn't be good to be late. Even an hour late wouldn't be good.
Maybe just ask Michael what is his plan. Are we sticking to 40 miles or the stuff? Just so we know.
I think that was the plan, wasn't it? 40 miles after the first round.
Yeah. We've sat and worked out, do we run 7.5 miles in 1 hour, 7 miles? Over 4 days, that makes a massive difference. That means you could be 4 hours late, 5 hours late in London.
Oh, your phone? No, Jess's phone. Oh, so you're following Jess?
With the bags and stuff, we have to put most of them in the shower.
We are coming to try and find you, although we're not quite sure which route the cyclist took you. Okay.
We've just gone up and then driven back down this way, so we've already lost the route.
There are decision-making junctions, and Tim and I and Jamie have done it twice, and we come up to junction and think, now where are we now? Do we go left or right? That wouldn't look good. You know, people have gone on this tour and they get lost in England. There are concerns because it's not been done and it's slightly quirky. I wouldn't want it too easy. That's why I like doing. That's why I enjoy doing it, to be honest, because it's different, not been done before. So we'll see. Bonkers. Yeah, maybe I actually, to be honest, sometimes I wake up in the night thinking, why am I doing this?
But by the time it takes to boil, you just want to eat anything.
That's the idea behind them. They make it take so long to make that
Chicken
by
from
the time you
Thailand.
make it, you're so hungry.
Yeah.
Oh! Yes!
Nice one, guys.
Okay, there's one campaign.
It's not a race. It's so much more than a run, to be honest, and it is about people. And those relationships then transform communities, transform peoples, transform individuals.
Have you done night running before?
Only when wife's chased me around the house. You do feel as if you're holding the baton. It's a bit like running a marathon. You know, you'd be there with thousands of other people, but actually you feel as if it is just you, and just you completing a race. Pitch dark, on a road, middle of nowhere, you know, just running for a good cause, and it makes you feel incredibly privileged actually, and very, very special to be doing something like that. And it's it sort of binds body and soul together.
Yeah, we just changed it. We were going to do sort of shorter runs, but we just cut it down to make it simple, half an hour each. It's probably easier to deal with when you're running through the night. You just know you do your half an hour and then wait till it's your turn round again. If we can get through that, yeah, just looking forward to getting into Histon and seeing everybody there, so should be good.
So in two teams, and our team was on from about 8 o'clock until 2 in the morning, and then the B team took over after that.
Why are you doing this, Neil?
Operation Orphan works around the world to give aid to children that have lost their parents either through natural disaster or through illness.
If we just go out like we've done before, so we've got, I mean, 3 of us can go out in the car. Me, you and Andy could go out in the car. Yeah, plus
75 is 10 miles, so let's do 5 and 5.
And we've done all this stuff in daylight, it's relatively straightforward. We're now going to be doing some of it clearly at night, and that may be more tricky because there's no street lights in these isolated areas. But we have tried to look at all the risks. I mean, that's been one of the big drivers. The main one is injury. If we lost two people down, that would create a challenge for us.
That hopefully improves it. I hope, anyway.
They're helping us.
And it's doing the rounds now. Michael, me, Tom, we're the men.
Pretty much on time actually. We're in Nottingham at the moment. It's 25 to 12. All quite tired, but we're pretty much on programme, but we've got a couple of bodies down potentially.
I don't apologise whatsoever for sitting just here and saying, tea please, and making no effort to prepare it at all. Yeah.
But we could all do with a bit of sleep. A lot of sleep actually. And a shower and buckets of deodorant, I think. But
I remember, I don't know if it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, we were running through the fens. It is pitch black, you see the stars. And just there was this moment where it just hit me that I'm running and this is going to affect someone's life.
It's day 3 and 4 when people haven't had sleep, probably want to go home, want to have a proper wash, it will be no doubt harder. You'll see how people react under pressure, how they react physically, mentally. You'll understand your team. Leaders will clearly come to the surface. People that struggle, you'll see. So, for me, it's a great team building exercise, and simultaneously, you're helping others.
I can navigate for you, Roller.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I know which road to go to next. I'm sure they lift saying leak as well. They're going to leak.
And just seeing this hill and the camper van at the top of the hill, and quite frankly I just wanted some breakfast at that point, and I was really ready to eat something and just attack this last hill. And remember standing at the top, to say you could have put some veg on my head and eaten it 10 minutes later wouldn't have been an understatement. Yeah, my head was definitely steaming. That was brilliant. But then the last uphill just then, that definitely finished me off. It's only the hill.
So Simon's just done 13 miles.
You ran it all, yeah. And you
17,
cycled the whole
so
way.
they're going to do 15, so they're going to do 70, so there'll only be about 30 left for us.
something the tour has showed is that, you know, when you're running in this group and you've got your T-shirts on, people are more open to speak to you, and you realise that we're all quite sociable beings, although we don't see that in a normal day-to-day existence. We all sort of walk around in our little bubble and not speak to each other, but actually everyone's really friendly and everyone wants to talk to people. Like when we were in a village called Wing, a guy came up to us and said, come around for a cup of tea, and then 12 of us were in his house having a cup of tea. You know, where that had never happened really in real life.
Yeah, he's a musician. Can you hear?
Go on, tune.
He's got to play another chord.
And he just suggested that I got on the guitar and we started playing. So he taught me, I think he taught me chord G and maybe a couple of others, and he just started singing along, and I don't know if it was directly from the guitars or whether it was from me actually possibly getting changed with my shirt off. I've been playing the guitar and there was this lovely lady, bless her. She was a retired lady and she lived next door to this pub, and she came out and she said, for your efforts, I'll give you a tenner for the proceeds for the tour. I think my guitar skills are worth at least a tenner.
What are we doing now? What's that song? My times of trouble, Mother Mary, she spoke to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be, let it be.
Sometimes when you're running and you feel like your legs are going, then you just think about obviously what you're doing it, and you know what to expect, all the difficulties, all the challenges that you've got. It does help, obviously, thinking about the children as well. They're kind of bullshit to make you think we can do this. We're nearly at the end. No point in giving up now.
The A team came out, and I just remember Roloff pulling his hoodie up and pulling a bit of a pose. And I thought, oh, that's different. I wouldn't expect that from him. Sort of how I got to know him the first few days. And Tom got involved, and we just ended up all sitting there and holding what looked like a kind of late 90s, early noughties boy band pose.
For me, it's always been about relationships. The running is just almost a side issue, but people kind of struggle with that because it's 650 miles. I understand that. The answer is yes, I would do it again, because the difference it made, not only just to the children out in Sierra Leone and other parts of the world where Operation Orphan work, but actually the impact it had on the people that went on the tour. And for me, it was not just about the end destination where we're going, it was those that actually took part in the tour. Did it make a difference to their lives? Did it bring hope?
The important thing to take home is that I've been born into privilege and they haven't. So what am I going to do to honour the fact that I have and they don't?
Okay, so the tennis balls are to give away to the children in Sierra Leone. Got a few tubes there, so give them some tennis balls. There's also some little footballs which are loose in there but will fit in the case, I hope. And they're just to give to the children when we get there.
And working out how to build that into your life to honour the privilege that you've been born into.
Yeah, give them away, and some at something to go on the bucket.
So it was the first time we really ran for a really built-up city, and you notice everyone. I mean, it was really packed, but everyone's in their individual little bubble, walking straight ahead. No one was looking at us, no one was talking to us. And we had the bucket, we were trying to get a bit of money. I know it's difficult getting money out of people and charity and stuff. And there's lots of rich people, you see the amount of money in London, you know, the money that's floating around. But the only guy that stopped and called us over to give us money was a homeless guy. And he gave us all his coppers. And it's not that we asked him or anything like that. He stopped us and said, here, have that, it's a good cause. And he gave us all the money. And that was the only money that we got running through London, really.
Yes, Africa.
That was special. That was special.
Guys.
Well, Simon.
So far.
Well done.
Well done, Rodolphe.
Yeah. Cheers, mate.
On behalf of the charity, Operation Orphan, and Your Excellency, for all your support, and for you guys who've just completed this epic journey. Come on, guys. Well done. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So there are armed guards at night that walk around the building. Yeah, so there's no fence line, so there's no clear boundary.
If your life is in danger, then you give them what they want. You may need to have a chat with someone who's here a couple of weeks later or a week later or something like that, just so that you can process some stuff.
The interval in London was great because you could actually relax, sleep, wash. So that was a bit of a breather. And then you had the massive contrast when you arrived in Sierra Leone.
The bus ride was probably only a mile. It seemed to go on forever because it was the bumpiest ride. What we think is a pothole here in Britain is definitely not a pothole.
Safety is a big issue because if something goes wrong, not only the reputation of the charity, but the reputation of personally. We need police escort. They don't turn up at the right time, the police, so we're hanging about. We've only got one day to get to Heaven Homes. We can't run in darkness. So if they're 2 or 3 hours late, that would be a problem.
Alright, so anybody can call for the run to stop. You're just going to have to say, vehicle forward to all vehicles, stop, stop, stop.
We got 3, we got 2, we got 1, we got 0.
Vehicle 2, vehicle 1, we're off.
Keep going.
Vehicle 6 should be behind us.
The run in Sierra Leone was unique. It was hot, it was hilly.
We were in a city-like environment. You know, all the smells of petrol, diesel, you could smell all that kind of normal smells, but just full of hills. So the pain in the legs were definitely there at the first section of the run.
It wasn't a race. None of this was about being competitive. Although we joke it was a team A and team B, there was only really one team, and particularly in Sierra Leone. If there was 2 teams in the UK, by the time we got to Sierra Leone, there was only one team. For me, the driving was all about relationships and about people within the team and beyond.
And then just as we've lined up ready to start, we realised that the van had actually broken down, which meant that we all decided to stop and have lunch while the van was fixed itself. I think the general feel of everyone was, well, actually, we don't need the vehicle because we're running. Little did I know what would happen 2 or 3 miles up the road to me personally with an injury.
Go! Okay, go! Yeah.
Go! Go!
We hadn't really eaten a proper meal, chewing on fruit and anything that we had with us really. But then those supplies started to run out. What we realised was we're on these streets where we can just shout out loud, I want a bottle of Coke, and like a lady with a box full of Cokes would come over, you could just buy them just literally off the street anywhere, because everyone was just selling all the time. There were people everywhere, there was people selling things everywhere, there were wood shacks selling materials, there were road diggers, there was just bedding.
Woods Neville. So what do you do, Woods? Are you an athlete as well?
Yes, I'm an athlete.
And
country. Salud.
Really? At national level?
Yeah, national
So we have a superstar here.
I remember being told at that point it was 3 miles to go. But 3 miles passed very quickly. And then it was speculated it was a mile to go. And another mile passed. And at that point, you started to think, are we actually ever going to get to this place? Is there an end to this run? Because the heat, the humidity, kind of the dust all over you, just sweat and dust from everywhere. And you just thought, is this actually going to end? Are we actually going to run anywhere? Or are we just running on and on and on? Arriving into Heaven Homes was like a magical moment. One where you just welled up straight away and you could feel the tears come to your eyes, because all you could hear was kids laughing and screaming coming towards us. It was an experience which you couldn't describe to someone. You've got to be in it, where to be surrounded by probably 2 or 3 kids per person, and they just latched on, just grabbed a hand, gave you a hug, and were just smiling and laughing, and you know, you could see that they were expecting us and were really happy to see us. And we don't really know how long they were waiting there before we actually got there, because I don't think we were near our predicted time. But it was just an overwhelming experience when they arrived, and then the run kind of officially stopped, and we kind of strolled up the driveway towards the old manor where we actually ended up staying. I think when you've been to somewhere like Sierra Leone and stood in an old bath with a ladle and poured it over your head, and that's your shower for the day, and you see the kids filling those tanks up, when you come back, your shower time is halved. Your kind of attitude to cleaning your teeth changes a little bit. And it's not because that water is readily available for them to have if you don't use as much, but it's just not taken for granted that we turn a tap and water will just come.
Put the 2 together. Whose side you're leaning on, leaning on, leaning on. Whose side you're leaning on, leaning on the Lord's side. Whose side you're tapping on, tapping on, tapping on. Whose side you're tapping on.
Because they've lost their parents, a lot of them, through Ebola, I think just to have contact with adults, and for us to come from the other side of the world to see it, I think that means a huge amount. The tour was called Hope because it was about bringing hope to the children in Sierra Leone and other children in across the world, but also sharing our hope with those on the tour. You know, so we had a discussion about what is hope. You know, where do you find hope? How do you express hope? You know, because I think if you talk to anyone, if there's one thing in your life, you want hope, whatever situation you're in. You know, you take hope out of life, and you don't have life, do you? You don't need a great gift to go out there and help them. I think if you just spend time, you know, time's quite a valuable thing in life, and often we don't spend enough time probably with each other, and with, certainly if you've got children, the thing they value most is your time. Talking, sitting down, playing with a ball. Andy played his guitar, which is brilliant. You know, so I think it's just being willing to spend time with his children. I think that means a lot to them. We had a clear goal, clear objective to bring hope and bring it alive to the children in Sierra Leone and other parts of the world, and also to those on the tour. You know, and I think it was expressed quite clearly.
I jump,